Dear students, welcome you all to the seventh session of subject Executive Development and Soft Skills of third semester BBA of Mangalore University. So session number 7 speaks about one of the concepts of the second module, that is module number 2, communication skills. So in this session number 7 we discuss about the meaning and process of communication. The learning objective is to understand the meaning and process of communication, and the outcome of this is you are able to understand what is the meaning of communication and what are the various steps involved in the process of communication. Meaning, communication plays a very important role in our daily life. With the advent of technology, many new dimensions have added to our communication, from telephone to today's world of social media like WhatsApp, Instagram, or like Facebook, etc. We rely on sharing of information. Good verbal and written communication skills are very essential to deliver and receive information quickly and accurately. A constraint uh, a contrast, a poor communication skill can have a negative impact on all the aspects of personal life. A poorly delivered message may result in misunderstanding, frustration, and in some cases, disaster. How information can be transmitted and received is a measurable of our communication skill like this. The communication skill is very important because it helps to establish clear expectations, build a very strong relationship between the people who communicate each other, maybe the manager and the subordinates, or the principal and the students, or say for example teachers and the students, or like family members, between the family members. So like good communication helps to maintain a very strong relationship between the people who are involved in the process of communication. It helps to establish a clear expectations, leads to new ideas and innovations, and also contributes in building strong teamwork. So now let us move into discuss the meaning of communication in a very specific way. So communication is the activity of sending information or ideas through speech, visualization, writing, or other means. It is a dynamic process of exchange of ideas between sender and receivers that takes place around us all the time. It is a fundamental process for living being for exchange of feelings. The word communication derived from the communication, that means communicate or to share, to take part in the decode and encoding the information. There are three definitions quoted here. The first definition is given by Lewis Allen. He says, communication is a bridge. It includes a systematic and continuous process of speaking, listening, and understanding. Yes, when you speak, someone has to listen and he has to understand. And when other person speaks, you have to listen and understand. If one of them is missing, it cannot be called as communication. So when you communicate something, the other person has to listen so that he would be able to understand what you are telling, so that the purpose of communication would be served. And this is the definition given by Lewis Allen. Another definition given by John Adair. He says communication is the ability of one person to get in touch with each other and understand each other. If you wanted to know about somebody else, and if you wanted to get together with the other person, you have to communicate, and there should be communication between you and the other person so that it leads to understand each other. One more definition given by Keith Davies. He says communication is the process of transferring information and understanding from one person to another person. You have something to tell or you have something to communicate, and you use a particular mode of communication to communicate that, and this, with the help of the way you have communicated, the other person is able to understand what you are telling. So this will help you to understand between the people. The next one, let us move on to discuss about the process of communication. So this is the process of communication. There is a sender and there is a receiver, and see it here, the message is being transferred, and encoding process takes place here, and it moves through a proper channel, and there is a receiver. He is going to decode the information given by the sender, and in between there are a lot of disturbances, and the communication, the effectiveness of communication would be affected by this kind of disturbances, and we call this as noise. And end of the day, like, there is a feedback. If there is a feedback between the sender and receiver, definitely that is going to become a very effective communication. Otherwise, what happens is, like, when something is conveyed by the sender, but if the sender does not get the feedback from the receiver, definitely there is no chance, or like there are chances that the information may not be passed in a correct way, or like the purpose of the communication may not be served. So let us discuss them one by one. Sender, who is the person, the communicator generates the message and imparts it to the accepted. Sender is the first source of process in the communication. He is nothing none other than the person who is sending the message, and there is a message to pass. Okay, that is, it is the information, view, topics, idea, feelings, sensitivity, etc. that is produced by sender and is then planned to be communicated more. Encoding. After generating the message by a sender is encoded. Representative likes in the form of pictures, gestures, words, etc. Earlier it is being okay, so encoding would be done through the gestures or the pictures, or through by using your mouth, words. Media. So now, to communicate something, you need to have a media. It is the middle part of the communication process. Basically, the message may be conveyed in writing. For communicating includes some of the medias like internet, telephone, email, or post, fax, etc. Then the next one, fifth one, is a receiver. It is the opposite party of communication. After sending writing messages, then it is encoding by the multiplexer via channel, then come to the receiver. Then the receiver receives the message, and it in proper outlook and acts giving to the message. Basically, the purpose of communication will be success when receive the message by the receiver. Decoding. So decoding is the process of adapting the symbols encoded by the sender. Then the feedback. When the receiver confirms to the sender message that he has received and understood it carefully, actually the communication process is completely done. And in between there is another, that is noise. Noise is any type of disruption that interferes with the interpretation of information from the message sender. We can say it is examples like bad telephone connection, faulty encoding, inattentive receiver, poor understanding of messages, internet connection loading, prejudice, etc. These are called as, we call them as noise or disturbances while sending the message by the sender to the receiver. Okay, thank you.